Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Wellness here at the Kiva Centers. I'm Geraldo Ferreira, and with me, my colleague, Idalka. Hi, Idalka.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Can you tell folks what we're here to do?
Yes. Today we are here to talk about wellness and the different things that work for us to keep each other grounded. We talk about reflecting on everyday situations and just living and just being together as a community.
Wonderful. And talking about being together, we have a very special, colorful, two guests, actually, not just one. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. This is Tyrion Lannister. My name is Kelly Dickerson. I've been a community member for about almost a decade now. And Tyrion is also a community member. He's my emotional support animal, and he also comes to Kiva for peer support. I got him about 7 years ago as an intentional foster fail, but he spent a long time hiding under the bed and just being very afraid of the world. So he comes to Kiva now on Fridays for karaoke and socialization and pepperoni and pizza bones. That's his favorite thing ever.
So Idalka and I were super excited to have you here because talking about wellness is so important, and you're such a vibrant, colorful person. I would like to start asking you a little more about emotional support animals, if you don't mind, because
Sure.
if folks that are listening to us are wondering what that is, how is that supportive to folks? Can you tell us a little more?
So emotional support animals, it's different from a service animal. Service animals are specifically trained to perform a specific task for someone and help them with a specific disability, or say they have seizures, or for someone like me with POTS, sometimes they'll do chest compressions or something. But Tyrion's a rescue, and he's not really he hasn't really been trained for that. So basically, an emotional support animal helps folks gain access to animals if it helps with their comfort, their anxiety levels, things of that nature. My nervous system is kind of constantly in overdrive because of what I've got going on. So having a dog that feels kind of like an expensive rug sort of helps me, because, who wouldn't want to love up on this all day? He's such a sweet guy. And just having that documentation from a therapist or a doctor helps you keep them in your house. If you're living in an apartment and they don't necessarily allow animals on a normal basis, I mean, you still have to make sure that you take care of them and clean up after them and stuff. But but it helps you gain access and bring them. And public spaces don't always allow them in either. With an emotional support animal, with a service animal, they're legally obligated to let them in, or a therapy animal. But he's just an emotional support guy, and I'm very grateful that we're able to bring him into the space, and everybody loves him. He's a sweet little dude, and he just acts like he owns the place now.
He sure does.
The most cute rug I've ever seen.
Seriously.
So
cutest
calm.
rug ever. And he's so calm.
He's a sweet,
And
his energy is so calming to me. He's just a little tater tot, and he loves to just chill out.
And he's my best friend because I get to feed him noodles.
She feeds him noodles all the time. That's his favorite part about being at Kiva, is the snacks.
Hello. So if folks are considering having a dog, or does that work for other animals as well?
Yes. I don't really know the legality with other more exotic animals, but it definitely works for dogs and cats. So it's really nice. I've actually toyed around with the idea of having a snake at some point.
Okay.
Because they're cold-blooded and they like body heat.
Ooh.
So I don't know, I really like history too. And I've been reading about Alice Roosevelt. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of her, but she was like Teddy Roosevelt's daughter, and she was a little bit of a hot mess, but she was awesome. Okay. And she had this snake named Emily Spinach. And she would like carry this snake around in her handbag and like take it to parties and stuff. And I just think it's so funny, like the idea of just like having a snake wrapped around me all the time. But I talked about it with my boyfriend and he's like, I don't think I can get on board with this, Kelly.
I don't think we can either because we love the dog. I'm not sure about the snake. Now, I think that when it comes to the legality, as you mentioned, folks can easily find that online, check in Google. But it's wonderful to hear right from you, heart to heart, how it supports you, how it supports you in different environments, in different situations. And he's just so adorable.
He's a sweet guy. He's a really sweet guy.
And how long you've been together?
About 7 years now. He's about 11 years old. He was 3 when we got him. Mm-hmm. Or like, yeah, so I guess it's actually been more like 8 years.
When you moved here from San Antonio?
So I actually moved up here with my other pup. His name was Chico Suave.
I remember.
You remember Chico Suave?
Chico, yes.
And he had 3 legs, and I had adopted him in San Antonio, where I'm from originally. And when I moved out here, I came with 2 suitcases and Chico, and that was it. And so I was very glad to be able to have him. But, you know, he was getting older. And I was like, I kind of feel like he could use a pal, you know, like he could use like a little friend. And, you know, he also wasn't really down to party anymore. I couldn't really take him into public spaces anymore because he was getting cranky. And so I ended up fostering this little guy from Yankee Chihuahua Rescue. It's a breed-specific rescue.
And this little guy is with Kelly everywhere.
Oh, yes.
Every place I've seen you have your bag with your little guy quietly, just ready to give some love.
The only place I don't really take him is like karaoke and the doctor's office. Like karaoke is awesome, but I don't think he could hang like at like the karaoke joints that I go to. Like he can handle Kiva karaoke because it's like a little more quiet and it's like the same group of people that he trusts and everything, but I just don't think he would like the loud noise at a regular karaoke establishment. So he's still very sensitive to sensory things. So I try to, you know, respect the limitations of any animal I own. You know, I think that's very important.
And Kelly, let me ask you a question. Folks who are listening to us, if they're more interested in learning more about emotional animals or that interaction and the steps, are you willing to answer questions if folks come in here at the Kiva Centers and ask you questions about?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I feel like animal ownership has always been really therapeutic to me personally. I got my first dog when I was 5 years old, and she actually found us at one of our, it was like the vacation spot we had been going to since I was born, basically. And she just came up to us, and she was like my soul dog. So it's really like, I've been owning dogs all my life, and they're just such a comfort. You know, they get me outside. You know, sometimes I wake up and I don't even feel like getting out of bed. Both like physically or like, you know, if I'm going through it mentally or something. So being able to like have an excuse to get outside and kind of move through that pain is very important to me.
And Hidaka, you have Lily as well, right?
I do.
Tell us about Lily.
So Lily she is also my emotional support animal, but she's a little feisty.
Yes.
She does not like when strangers get near me. She'll start barking. She won't bite, but she tries to intimidate. Mm. And, you know, it makes me feel safe because then people that I don't know can't approach me. But I do sometimes want to like take her out and stuff like that, but she's just so unpredictable.
Yes. And that's on knowing your animal's limitations.
Right.
You know, like that, I think that's such an important part of pet ownership is like knowing where that line is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they just can't do certain things, you know, and it's not their fault really. It's just where they're at.
She does have anxiety too. So I try to understand that. So I try to like take her out from time to time, take her to the park. But I wish I can do more with her, but I do understand that she likes to be to herself.
Definitely.
Now, you said that she would attempt to intimidate folks.
Yes.
Can you describe to people who are listening to us, how does Lily look like? Her size? How intimidating is that dog, Idalka?
Lily is a small Maltese. So if you do not know what a Maltese look like, she is small. She's white. She has curly hair. She's the sweetest, cutest looking dog I've ever seen. And then I put like these cute little dresses on her, some bows, and she'll just bark.
You know what though? Like my mom used to be in property management, and like she had this it was like a workshop or something where they had like, I guess it was like part of their parole thing, but it was like a former home invader, but he was giving like this workshop on how to like prevent home invasions. And he actually told them that smaller dogs are actually a home invader's worst nightmare.
Yeah, because they're so
small and they're evasive. They can like bob and weave in and out of stuff, and and they're a lot more intimidating than having just this big old dog.
They say that they're ankle biters, which I can see that.
Right?
I can see that. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And earlier, I've offered if folks had some questions about support animals, if they could come to the Kiva Centers to partner with you. I'd love to, in a little bit, talk to you more about what you do here at the Kiva Centers, what you run. You're listening to Talking Wellness. I'm Geraldo. This is my co-host, Idalka, and our guest, Callie, and our little puppy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Wellness. I'm here with my co-host, Idalka. Hi, Idalka.
Hey.
And with our guests here today, Callie and Tyrion. Hello, guys.
Hello.
So right before in the other segment, we were speaking on emotional support animals, and I was asking you if folks that would like more information on that, if they could come here to Kiva Center, speak with you, get some knowledge from you, which you said yes to. So tell us, when are you here at the Kiva Centers? What are you doing here for us? You've been involved with the Kiva Centers forever. How long has it been?
I've been a member for 10 years, going on about. I started out, y'all were like actually in the Framingham RLC when I first started going. And that was when it was at the 1881 Advocates Building.
With Lindsay and Andre?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then like, cause I was living in Marlborough at the time when I first moved here. And then I moved to Worcester. And so that was when y'all were on the other Shrewsbury Street location. And so that's when I started going there. And then, so I've just been through different iterations with y'all.
So, which is wonderful, a decade of partnership. And now that we are on 172 Shrewsbury Street, what are the gatherings, the groups, the segments that you facilitate here now?
So most of my groups are online. So I do Power Positivity on Mondays. The Finding Home in Our Bodies and Chronic Illness on Thursdays. And then right after that group is also Breaking Cycles with Boundaries and Balance. And then I have, I do the karaoke on Friday, and that's in person. So if y'all want to hang out, have some pizza, sing some songs, and believe me, nobody cares how good you are. Okay. It's not American Idol. All right. I am a classically trained singer, but nobody cares, okay?
So every Friday at 172 Shrewsbury Street, there is karaoke. Is it like an open mic? How is it for folks who've never been?
It's probably not as like, it's not a like super advanced setup or anything. We don't have like a sound system. It's just like YouTube through a Roku stick and a like Radio Shack karaoke machine. But it's still good vibes. We have free pizza, which is this guy's favorite part of the duration of the group. He looks for that pizza guy all day.
So you're saying it's a more simple setup, but what do we have that sets that group apart?
The vibes. It's the vibes. Like we have like usually the same few regulars that come in, and then there's usually kind of a rotating, there's some new people that show up, but it's a good crowd. Like there's a pretty good recurring cast of characters there.
And what time is that at?
That we usually start around 2:30-ish. It kind of depends on the day. But we run until 4:30.
So for folks who are listening to us right now and they want to soak up from that Friday vibe, what hours are karaoke again?
It's 2 o'clock to 4:30, roughly.
Okay.
Like sometimes we start later, like 2:30, but it all depends on like how many people are there, and sometimes like people are talking, and I kind of want to give people like the space to converse and socialize first before we get started, and it's all very chill.
And if folks have never been to the Kiva Centers, what is the process? Like if I want to come to karaoke, do I just show up at the door? Do I have to sign up beforehand?
Like that's kind of the best thing about Kiva is like we're not taking like insurance information. You don't really even have to like give a lot of your info. Like you just sign in on the iPad, and you can only use you only have to use your first name. Even you don't have to give all of your information. And it's free, and it's a chill time.
So if I want karaoke, pizza, and vibe on a Friday afternoon, I can just show up at the 172 Shrewsbury Street. I walk in, I put my little name on the little iPad that we have up front, and I'm in. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm glad that you said that's not American Idol, because I'm not a singer. I don't know about you all at home. Are you a singer, Dalka?
I am not.
No,
if I'm home alone, yeah.
But that's like, my grandmother. So I'm one of the only people in my family who can carry a tune in a bucket with a lid on it, basically. And, I used to have to go to church with grandma. I did my time.
Most of us have, yeah.
Right? And so I'd go to church with grandma, and, she'd be sick. We're Methodists. So she'd get up, sing a hymn, sit down, get up, sing a hymn, sit down. And that's the whole service, basically, in a nutshell. But, she'd get up to sing these hymns, and, we'd be riding home, and I'd be like, Grandma, you kind of butchered those hymns back there. And she'd say, well, the Bible says make a joyful noise. It doesn't say it had to be any good,
Most of us have had that experiences with grandma. And I love talking about karaoke in this segment of wellness, because social wellness is a component of wellness. And actually there's a reason why we're talking about wellness and not necessarily recovery, because wellness is this bigger component, because there's different nuances and parts of that.
Absolutely.
And social is a big part. So talking about wellness and minding the social aspect of our wellness process. And I think what you're saying, karaoke does just that. So here's an invite for you all. Every Friday, 172 Shrewsbury Street here in Worcester, 2:30 to 4 o'clock, right?
Yes, 4:30.
4:30, 2:30 to 4:30. Pizza, karaoke, and vibe. And Kelly will be happy to welcome all of you
absolutely.
who might want to join. Talking about joining, you also are running something called the Power of Positivity.
I know.
Tell me more about that.
Listen, Edelka came to me last year, and she's like, do you want to take over Power of Positivity? And I'm like, are you sure you want me doing that?
Yes, I am.
I gotta admit to y'all, I'm a bit of a nihilist sometimes. Things get a little dark in this little. I have something I call my intrusive thought shoulder demon. I named him Clyde, by the way.
Me too.
He sucks, man. He's the worst. It's the worst, most inopportune times. He just butts right in too. Like, I can't enjoy things sometimes. It's like, this is gonna end, and you're gonna be sad. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
So let me ask about Clyde. I don't even know the words. Like, it's so interesting that you named that, 'cause I haven't. Now
I've named other body parts too, but we're not going to get into that today.
Okay, but let's go to Clyde. So does Clyde come here or come here? Because my version of Clyde is internal. It's not external. Well, sometimes
I think he's external for me. He just kind of perches on my shoulder and barks weird little, like, I don't even know. Like, I'll be like on top of a really high something. I'm going to tell y'all, I'm afraid of like, when we would go on vacation, we would have like a tree swing. And one time my cousins decided, hey, let's, we know it's deep enough here. Why don't we just climb the actual tree and jump in?
Okay.
It took me, I'm not even going to lie, like 20 minutes to jump out of this tree. Because I physically cannot jump off of things. It freaks me out. But like every time I'm somewhere where it's like high up or something, Clyde's just like, why don't you jump? And I'm just like, what are we?
Is
what
it
are
like
we doing?
negative self-talk almost?
I guess, but it's more like what if we did? It's like he's just like a chaos goblin. Sometimes he's just like, why don't we do the thing? And I'm like, we're not going to do the thing. He's like, but what if we did? And I'm like, stop.
So Idalka comes with that proposal, and Clyde is saying, what was Clyde saying? Like, no, don't do it.
Well, I just felt like Clyde is like, he's a little too prominent in my life for me to like facilitate a group about positivity.
Understood. Understood.
But like,
it's been working.
It's been working. It's
been working.
In spite of myself, in spite of Clyde.
I think that you have such a bright and colorful personality that when I was thinking of someone to facilitate that group, you were the person that came in mind.
Yeah.
And
that makes me feel better about how I'm presenting to the world, because sometimes it's like
you do present yourself that way. You're so bright. Your personality is so out there. And I think you bring a lot of positivity. You're always laughing. You're always smiling.
I tried because, like my grandma was my bestie, if you haven't been able to figure that out about me yet.
I did.
But, she used to say, might as well laugh. Doesn't do any good to cry,
I do both.
Equal measure, I'm a Pisces, I cry at those commercials with the dogs and the horses.
Oh my God.
Me too.
All of those.
Me too. And if you're listening to us and you hear those commercials and you get emotional, us too. So no shame in there. But I think they do that on purpose.
They do it on purpose.
They do it so we can get moved. I flip the channel.
Listen,
I can't handle it.
I seek it out sometimes. Like if I call it a purge. Sometimes I need a purge, and I'll watch like Steel Magnolias or something. I have like just some of the worst, most awful thing to subject your psyche to. Like some of those movies are like once is enough, but no, I'm like, hit me.
I do. And all of that, what we watch, how our inner self speak with us, what proposals come to us, what we accept, what we don't. I think that it's all under the umbrella of wellness.
Exactly.
Because it's a daily task of all different hurdles to maintain the so-called wellness. And I have my little Clyde too. And
Me too.
Right. And a lot of folks who might be listening to us have them too. I have some techniques I've learned how to dealt with mine, and I'd love if we could talk a little more about that. Hello, everyone. I'm Oraldo Ferreira here with Kelly, Idalka, and Tyrion, and this is Talking Wellness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Wellness. I'm here with my co-host Idalka and our guests Tyrion and Kelly. And Kelly, we were talking about power of positivity and this group that you hold online for the community weekly. When is the group?
It is from 12 to 1 on Mondays. And it's over Zoom. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty accessible. We usually have people logging in from a variety of locations, not just here in New England. It's pretty nice.
And I am super interested in the topic of power of positivity, because some of us utilize that power of trying at least to be positive.
Yes. Doesn't always work, does it?
I know it doesn't always work. Thank you for saying that, because there were times that I have felt I wasn't positive more than many, many times. So what should I expect from a group that's talking about the power that positivity may have in someone's wellness?
Well, I think a lot of the time for that group, I try to make it like First of all, I kind of try to make it kind of a weekly check-in because it is Monday, and sometimes, people may have either had some triumphs or struggles over the weekend or, things that they want to look forward to or something. So we talk about our goals, things that we're looking forward to in the future, but also like things, we, are either grateful for or, have had struggles with in the past week. Like I try not to make it toxic positivity because I feel like that's one of the things that have really hindered me from positive thinking in the past is like there have been people in my life who've been like, no matter what's going wrong in my life. And let's face it, sometimes the depression is a depression because it's situational and we're not going to get out of it until we fix our situation. Like I was in that for so long, especially when I lived in Texas. I was living in, my mom had put me in assisted living for a while, and in a program. And then, after that, she basically trapped me in a 5-year lease living in a travel trailer off of a major highway when I couldn't drive or tow myself anywhere. So, things got a little dark for me during those times. And, nothing was really going to get me out of that until I geographically moved myself out of that situation. Right. And so, having people in my life being like, oh, well, it can't be that bad, can it? And I'm like, no, it's pretty bad.
And I'm glad that you're saying that because sometimes people want to support others that are experiencing hard times. And I've learned, at least for myself and for my own interactions, that there's sometimes that you're experiencing something and for whatever reason, you choose to stay in that feeling.
Yeah.
There's sometimes that you're mourning the loss of something, that you're shameful about something. And for whatever length of time, it's part of that, your own process, you sit in there. So folks coming to you and say, oh, it's going to be fine. When you're like, no.
How would you know that?
Yeah.
How would you know that?
Right, exactly.
How would you know that?
And some of the folks who go in that group, some of them feel kind of stuck in their situation. Some of them are in a space where they're not able to leave their house all the time. And, they express frustration with that situation. And I tell them, I've been through something extremely similar to that and it sucks. It does suck. And, it's nothing I am going to say is going to just wave a wand and fix someone's problem like that, So I think, focusing on what we have to be grateful for is good, but it's also like giving space to people who are genuinely struggling, like feeling positive as well. Like, because that happens. I definitely get in that space sometimes where I can't find the positive to a certain situation.
And what are some techniques that you have used to help you get out of that mind space?
I think for me, I rely very heavily on a modicum of escapism on any particular day. I tend to retreat a lot into things like media. I use music a lot. Also, like, I just genuinely like to learn stuff. And I feel like if I'm keeping my brain busy, I can't fill it with negative self-talk and stuff. So I like to watch a lot of like documentaries and stuff. Like, I just got a PBS subscription. By the way, it's like so cheap to get a PBS subscription. It's like $5.
They have a lot of really good documentaries.
They have great documentaries. I just watched one on jazz. It was like a whole like mini series on like jazz music. And like they had some really good ideas back then. Like back in like the old days in Harlem, if like someone was struggling to pay their rent, do you know that they used to have these things called rent parties where they would like hire this band to come to their house and play, and then they would charge people at the door for cover, and they would use that money to pay their rent.
Resources. That's very
Bring
resourceful.
back the rent party. I am petitioning now to bring back the rent party. Okay.
Also would like to talk about so Idauka asked you the techniques that you use, and right before that, you were talking about what I am going to interpret as really holding space for people to be where they want to be, to feel what they need to feel. There were times in my life where I had supporters that wanted to bring me to that positive side in a time that I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And what you're saying, it sounds to me that in your group, you are really trying, you and the folks that come to it are really trying to create that meeting people where they're at and respecting that people are ready when they're ready for whatever they're ready.
Right.
Yeah, and asking the right questions, because a lot of the times the way that we ask things, it's what gets people thinking. So instead of asking what's wrong with you, we ask what happened to you.
Right.
And that factors into environment matters and the things around us, how they influence the way that we look at things, everyone's different worldview.
Yes. Like, how did we get here? Like, how did we arrive in this headspace? Like, I think that, like, we as a society, like, at least in my own experience, that's been a huge, like, issue for me, is like, so much of my experience in my life, it's like a lot of the adults in my life were like, well, you have this, and this behavior, and we don't like that. So we need to get rid of it, like, by any means possible. And instead of, like, just saying, like, how did we arrive to these behaviors? How are these behaviors manifesting themselves? Like, how did this person get to a place where they're having to express themselves in this way? And instead of that, it was just like, they just started throwing pills at the problem, so to speak.
Quick solutions.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like, I had no, like, you know, shouting was the most effective form of communication in my house growing up. And so when I would get upset, you know, I would default to shouting, because that's how I was raised. You know, if you're raised with two people that are just all the time, you know, that was my baseline.
You also facilitate, on the same talk, but you also facilitate breaking cycles here for the Kiva Centers.
Yes.
When is that, and what is that about?
So that one is Thursday from 1 to 2, also on Zoom.
Okay.
And we have some really, really great conversations in there. We talk about, it really can be a super wide-ranging variety of topics. We talk about, you know, like, parent-child relationships. We talk about, like, you know, our relationship with ourselves, like, in, you know, breaking cycles, like negative cycles with ourselves. It's just really a lot of, like, even, like, you know, social norms, you know, like the other day we had a whole, like, talk about, like, gender and stuff in one of the groups. And, like, and I think that it's just, like, so important to be able to talk about those things from, like, kind of an objective standpoint, like, because I think so much of our experience as humans is kind of wrapped in other people's expectations and perceptions of us. And I think being able to shine a light on that, just to kind of see it for what it is really helpful for a lot of folks. Definitely for me, you know, it's been really helpful.
And you're saying we talk about, so those of you who are listening to us here at the Kiva Centers, all our groups and gatherings are peer-to-peer.
Yes.
So it's not a workshop that Callie is going to teach you how to break cycles, but it's an invitation to have human-to-human connection around that topic.
Yes,
Am I right?
I was actually saying this the other day in one of my groups, that at this point, I really feel like I'm getting paid to attend groups. And that's bizarre to me.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that? I get what you mean, but if folks who are listening to us, what do we mean by that?
Because it's like, it's so, like, it really is symbiotic. Like, I get just as much as I give in those groups. You know, like, I really am getting the same amount of energy that I'm, like, giving out, you know? So, like, you know, people will talk about, you know, different things that they've tried or different resources. And it's extremely helpful because, you know, nobody knows everything, right? We're all just weird little flesh bags doing our best, you know? And, like, I just feel like having other people to process some of our most human experiences. It's a huge thing.
And then having a community that can understand those feelings and what we go through is very important. And it's so beneficial for a lot of us.
Yes.
Because peer support happens in a circular way. It's not the power over or teaching someone, but really the shared wisdom.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is Talking Wellness. Geraldo, Idalka, Kelly, and Tyrion. Thank you for listening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Wellness. I'm Geraldo, my co-host Idalka, and our guests Kelly and Tyrion. Kelly, you are here with the Kiva Centers for a long time, more than a decade, or just about. Just about. And you run different gatherings and meetings here, and we spoke about some of them. And you have something interesting that you do weekly, which is finding home in our own bodies in chronic illness.
Yes.
Tell us a little more about that.
So that's, it's probably my favorite group, even though I love karaoke. Don't get me wrong. I love to sing. It's always been one of my biggest coping skills is singing. But it's really a space where we have folks with all different sort of abilities and disabilities and, different forms of chronic pain, just a whole, and also I used to be, this big around, until I was about 13 and then they put me on risperidone. Oh. And so I gained 30 pounds in 3 months. So we talk a lot, we can talk about, body dysmorphia stuff and those sorts of issues as well. So it's kind of a wide range that we can talk about in there, but I think the biggest help that we've been getting through that group is the sharing of resources.
Wonderful.
Because I feel especially for folks with chronic illness, it's hard to find resources sometimes. And ultimately, for a lot of folks, sometimes, if I had a nickel for every time I was told by a doctor, "Oh, just lose 20 pounds, sweetie." When I would come over there and be my body feels like crap all the time and I have no idea why, I'd be like Scrooge McDuck swimming in a pool of money, So
are you saying that you also have that lived experience, your own journey on finding home in your own body?
Absolutely. So I tell people this all the time, but being disabled literally is a full-time job.
How so?
So I moved here 10 years ago. Most of my life...
Here to Massachusetts?
Yes.
Okay.
And most of my life, my experiences had been pathologized as a mental illness, solely. And, I finally got here. It was really hard for me. I was paying over half of my check when I first got here towards rent in this really bad rooming house in Marlboro. I also couldn't get on food stamps right away because Texas wasn't sending me the right closure letter. And also, I told Social Security that I had moved, but it took them a really long time to catch on in their system that I was on Mass Health already. And so they were taking out another, like a third of my check for Medicare deductibles. So I was really, really, really profoundly struggling when I first touched down here. And thankfully I had, a food pantry right across the street from the rooming house I was in. Because other than that, I don't know how I would have survived. I'm going to be completely honest. I got no financial support from my family. And yet my mom was borrowing $5,000 to send to her Nigerian prince boyfriend at the time. And so it was just a whole, it was adding insult to injury the whole time.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think that sometimes in my own journey, looking for support was very superficial.
Yeah.
And coming to a group where the facilitator of the group has that life experience, I think it makes it really, there's value to it.
Yeah.
It reduces the shame. It increases the connection. So folks who are looking into being part of that group, tell us when it happens, how often, is it online, is it in person?
So it's online. It's Thursdays, 12 to 1. And it's a really great group. We have a lot of folks. It's so funny to me because I think there have been at least 2 other folks in the group who have connective tissue disease, which is what I also have. And it was really a long, hard struggle getting a diagnosis even. Like I said, it's really just been pathologized as a mental illness for most of my life. I come from a family who was really athletic my whole life. Like one of the first of my ancestors born in this country was a pitcher for the Boston Americans before they became the Red Sox. And my first cousin from the same part of my family became a pitcher for the Salem Red Sox. And then, my other cousin played football for the Naval Academy. I used to be a really good swimmer. And I think that just that amount of physical activity I was doing as a kid really was what was holding me together the whole time. And so it really took, in 2020, my grandma passed away. And by the way, she didn't even die from COVID. She died from Legionnaire's disease. Like, who even dies from that anymore? I'm like, Grandma, you little rapscallion.
During COVID.
How dare you? I know.
Now,
Like,
during
what the
COVID,
heck?
too, we adapted some of our meetings and connections. So we spoke about the karaoke that you run that is here in person at 172 Shrewsbury Street. Idalka, those who are listening to us and are interested in joining Kelly and others on the online groups that we have, how do they get more information?
You can get more information on our website at kivacenters.org. There is a tab where you go into supports. It could be in person or online supports. They'll still show you the calendar there as well. But if you go under the online supports, you get to see all of our online groups that are offered throughout the week. And the same for the in-person tab. You'll see all the in-person groups that will be offered for that week and a PDF of our calendar. Or you can come in person. We invite everyone to come and visit the space. It's so warm and just wonderful to walk into.
It's awesome.
So wonderful. So kivacenters.org. We are also on social media. You can give us a call, 751-9600. Here at the Kiva Centers, we have an array of possibilities for folks to connect in a peer-to-peer support way. We have over-the-phone support. We have online support. We have in-person support. This is Talking Wellness. My name is Geraldo, my co-host Idalka, and our guests, Tyrion and Kelly. Thank you so much for listening to us, and stay tuned for more Talking Wellness.